Dramastic.
Dramatically.
Is it a word?
Yeah.
What does dramatically mean?
When a situation occurs in which one is so overwhelmed by an event that the use of drastic must be combined with the word
Dramatic.
when the use of the word drastic must be combined with the word dramatic.
I've never heard
To accurately
dramatic.
describe the situation.
So I'm learning new things, but did you know that before you accidentally said dramatically?
I'm going to say yes.
This is, we had a Dramastic reel that went out this week.
Yes.
It was
dramatically good.
It was hugely dramatic. And by dramatic, I mean 1 million views on TikTok. What do you think before we actually get into it? Let's just vibe a little bit. Yeah. Thoughts? Rent?
It's cooked, mate.
Yeah. What's cooked about it?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
We're celebrating that rents are stopped rising, but fuck me, they've gone up 100% in the last 5
We're
months.
celebrating it. Who's celebrating it?
The article, I read an article in Pedestrian with Domain saying rents are leveling out. I mean, that's great, but the level is
leveling out at
an unachievable level.
At a dramatic all-time high.
Dramatic all-time.
Dramatic is a word.
I got some numbers on it. Like, I mean, if the average median income is about $1,400 a week, and now in Sydney, the average the average rent is $780 a week.
Yeah.
Which is like 70% of your after-tax income.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what the hell we're celebrating.
Ridiculous. How are people living? Anyway, we can get into that a bit more. Let's jump to that video that went so well, and then we'll chat a little bit about it and about some of the reactions and some of our thoughts on it. So
this is what $780
How much your rent is? $600 a week. And it goes up in December. Like,
how much is it going up by?
I share with one other person and we split it evenly. It's going up to $1,350. So, like, we're going to have to move.
Car spot?
No, like building amenities or anything. I think anyone with a full-time job shouldn't have to pay more than 30% of that income on their rent.
How much do you pay percentage of your income?
Oh God, like too much. Most people around here more closer to 50, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this like the first place you've rented, or have you lived in cheaper?
I've lived alone in Melbourne for like nearly $420 I think a week, and that wasn't that long ago. So like it's definitely an area specific thing.
Okay, so where would you move if you were going to move to a different area?
I wouldn't. I probably would just like bite the bullet and rent, like just because unfortunately if that's the amount that it is, that's the amount that it is. Honestly, like you look at similar things in the area or like even neighbouring suburbs, you're still looking at an exy figure. Mm-hmm. So it's like that extra $100 to live in the place that you do want to live. Then
if you're going to be broke, might as well be in Bondi.
100%. Not here. I think if anything, most people would plan on buying when they're a little older, when they want to live like outside of the major cities. Yeah. I don't think it would be feasible for someone like myself to be looking at buying in Bondi in the next 5 years.
Yeah, interesting, right? So 111k views, as you can see there on Instagram. TikTok had over
blew
1 million. It blew up. It dramatically.
Blew
I'm going to keep
up.
saying that, but it was huge. A lot to unpack there. It was really interesting. Like, she seemed kind of happy, like, still. Like, I feel like she's living...
She had a good attitude. She's like she's living the good life. That she's going to be... She's like content that she's going to be broke, I guess. That's what
well, I think so.
If
more than 50% of the income, and she's sort of saying like, yeah, look, this is too high, but I don't want to move out of Bondi. I still want to stay in Bondi. So it's going to be hard to find something for much better than that.
I guess that's the trade-off, right? Like,
but like I'm assuming 2-bedroom, no amenities, no car spaces, $1,350. That's pretty heavy.
Well, lucky it doesn't have a car space because you probably couldn't be able to afford to have a car in the first place.
She could probably rent out the car space for like $500 a week, and that would offset some of the
It's funny because when I first heard this, I'm like, oh, $600 a week, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
and then I realised that she has a roommate, and that's probably $1,200 a week, and it's gone up to $1,350 a week.
Well, for a comparison, when I was rentvesting pre-COVID time, so a lot has changed dramatically.
Different times.
I'm going to stop saying it now. That's the last
dramatically.
time. So very different times. But I was where it was a 3-bedroom townhouse, 2 courtyards, beautiful, big space. Not Bondi, but also like not too, like maybe 10 minutes from the city. So not like a far out west or south or whatever location. We're paying around $700 a week, right? That same place would be very different today.
Yeah. The thing is though, is Bondi like a representation of the whole market the whole rental market in Sydney? Like I don't know if that's it's probably the craziest because you've got everyone that comes from overseas wanting to live there.
That's the big point. I've read different numbers, right? So the average rental or median rental price in Sydney, and that's across obviously a very wide geographical area, would be about $750 to $780 according to different sources, right? So that $1,350
which is still cooked, by the way. I mean, that's
it's still quite cooked, right? Because you think that's as far out as Penrith, Camden, etc. And so it's a very broad area, is what I'm saying. So it's pretty cooked, man. And so it was interesting for her to say because the question was when are you thinking about buying property or something along those lines? Oh no, not right now. But she's at the moment she's lifestyle focused. But she's when I'm a bit older, we can buy, and when I'm interested in moving out of a metro area. So it's almost as if this generation is kind of we're never going to be able to buy Sydney. They've already thought. Well,
I guess she's just choosing the lifestyle over.
Yep.
The actual home ownership part. But has she given up on home ownership altogether? Is that what it is? But I think when you look at that $750 to $780 median income, median rent in Sydney, that's just crazy when you think about it. Considering that the average salary at the moment is about $1,500 or $1,400 a week.
Yeah.
Before tax. So when you look at that 780 figure, that's 60 to 70% of your after-tax income, which is just madness. There's nothing left to spend.
That's before groceries.
There's no chips and milk from Coles.
Chips and milk.
In that scenario. So it's crazy when you think about it like that, right?
Yeah.
In terms of your actual salary.
Yeah. But people are prepared for this trade-off. And I think you hit it on the head with Bondi. So Bondi, some of the videos we post, whenever we're interviewing people in Bondi, we get extra views from overseas. So people in the UK, places like that. There's a lot of interest in Bondi. So if people are migrating to Australia, they think about Bondi is what they imagine.
It's the iconic.
Yeah. So it's on the world stage. It's the world's playground when they come to Sydney. So people move to Sydney, they hit Bondi, and it's inflating things, right? Because there's tourism there, there's people there. It's a good suburb, it's well connected. One of the best beaches in the world. So obviously it does inflate things dramatically, but it's crazy to me to think this is where I want to be. There was another interview that we ran, which was again from that same day in Bondi, and it was a couple, and they're saying they're trying to rent in Bondi, and it was unaffordable. So we asked, where are you looking instead? And they said, Manly, as if that's going to be less, as if that's going to be cheaper.
You're just following the coastline. Where else do I go next?
But again, it comes down to lifestyle and choices, right? So, and this girl, and it's up to her, right? Rightfully so. If she wants to live in Bondi and hit the beach every day, maybe her home is just where she sleeps for 8 hours every night. You know what I mean? And the lifestyle is about Bondi and the cafes and the beach and all that sort of thing.
Which, don't get me wrong, is an awesome lifestyle. But are we heading to it? Because we always talk about home ownership, right? And how difficult it is to achieve home ownership. We're now talking about renting, and can you actually achieve renting? To me, that's a crazy change in society when we're talking about home ownership and can people get on the ladder, and there's a consensus out there that it's too hard, but we see some people break through. But now we're talking about, can I afford rent, which to me is a really dangerous path to be going down. We want people to actually help achieve home ownership, but if they can't actually rent in the first place, how are they ever going to be able to achieve home ownership? I know you got the whole rentvesting strategy or whatnot, but can you actually get to the point where you can't even achieve rent, and then you're with someone in that property, a share house or whatnot, and it's still too difficult? What's next after that?
Even rentvesting has a strategy, because rentvesting works when the place you're living in, so say you're in your 1-bedroom apartment in Bondi and you're living the life, but you're able to buy something out further, it's bigger, you're able to rent something that you buy out for more than you're paying in your little 1-bedroom studio, what have you. So you're getting your lifestyle, but you're earning more from your rental income. I don't know where you're going to be able to buy, from a rent vesting perspective, I don't know where you're going to get a positive cash flow situation. Yeah. You're going to buy something in rural New South Wales that's earning you less rent than what you're paying in your 2-bedroom apartment.
Look,
in
there's
Bondi.
still locations. There are, like, if you look
There
hard
will be
enough,
if you look hard
there's
enough,
definitely
yeah.
still locations.
Yeah, but where does that at some point does that continue to escalate, and where is the top?
Oh, look, there's definitely, like, if you look hard enough, there's definitely locations that have good rental returns, still affordable prices. I'm talking below 700, still affordable prices. We're not talking house and land.
Yep.
We're talking apartments, second-hand apartments below 700, 2-bedroom 700, like Blacktown, Seven Hills, these locations. It's unfortunately, it's not Bondi, but when everybody wants to live in that location, then it's very difficult. But are we creating, like, is there a generation of forever renters? Is that what we're looking at now?
It sounds like that's where it's heading, because at what point, and so it's not like when we were a little bit younger where we could sort of see, you know, if we're making a sacrifice, i.e. living at home for a little bit longer, which we're both lucky enough to do.
Yep.
We could make that sacrifice knowing that we're doing it because we're getting into a market, or we're able to buy a home, or we're able to, there was a goal that was achievable, that was there. So we could make that sacrifice for that goal. Whereas, you know, I think younger people now, they can't see it. They can't see the ownership. They can't see themselves owning a home. So they're saying...
They give up?
Well, they're saying, I'm going to live for today then, if I can't see what tomorrow looks like. I'm going to live for today. Now, that's not everyone. We spoke to someone at an event this week, both of us, who just moved back home because she bought a property. She bought her first property, so she moved back home far out into the sticks. I won't even say where. But that's sacrifice. But she could see, hey, actually, I can do this. But in order for me to be able to do this,
it's a shift in priorities, right?
Yeah, it's priorities.
Like, they have to shift their priorities. And if you want to live on the beach, have that sort of lifestyle, go to your cafes, that's the priority you choose. But then you're sacrificing the home ownership. And some people are fine with that. And then, look, again, and we always talk about with home ownership, when you're at the age of 19, 20, 21, and you're being told first home buyers are the age of 36, it does push you, particularly in the current generation, and even with us, it does push you to go, you know what, stuff this. I am going to live for now. I'm not going to wait 15 years. But I think the reality is there is still hope to have home ownership if you have your right strategy. There absolutely is. So you can be the rent vesting side. You can absolutely still buy a property with that methodology in mind. And you mentioned one of the biggest hacks that I still live by. Not everyone has the opportunity to do that, but if you can live with mum and dad, suck it up for a couple of years. Save if they don't let you have to pay rent.
If they'll have you.
If they have you, thank you, mum and dad. You know, go home. And if you have that luxury, it is a luxury. If you have that luxury to be able to go back to mum and dad, or mum or dad, or whoever it is, and be able to live there and save and buy, and then you get yourself ahead. That 2 or 3 years of what a lot of young people would consider, and I would too. Like, I could never now move back with mum and dad. Again, hi mum and dad, love you. But like, to actually make that sacrifice and spend those 2 or 3 years, to me, that propels you 10, 20, 30 years into the future, because you're not living for now, but if you have that property, you can gain equity, like what's happened over the last 6 years with rents. I mean, I read an article that we're celebrating that rents have leveled out, which is just
all-time high, yeah.
Which is just madness. Like, we're celebrating that rents have gone up probably 100% in the last six to 7 years, and we're celebrating that it's gone to a level that is, congratulations, we've stopped at this level, but it's an unsustainable level, but we're cheering. Like, I think it's counterintuitive. So if you can go back to that strategy of living with mum and dad, like, that to me is an ultimate strategy. But you've got to sacrifice the lifestyle side. It's
almost irresponsible. You mentioned earlier talking about average wage versus average rent, and how, you know, they're sort of meeting, it's cutting it fine. And some of the data, we spoke about data earlier, this is from a news.com article according to REA, the data. So I'll read that out, but they're saying that rent stress has risen dramatically, not dramatically, but dramatically. So 48% of renters say they struggled to pay rent this October. That's like almost half the renters.
It would
Sydney,
be dramatically if you say it dramatically.
If I said it dramatically. So, but that, and on a serious note, half the renters in Sydney struggled to pay their rent in October. Like, think about that for a second, right? Compared to 4 years ago, same month, 33%.
Here's the point to me where we're seeing, if you fast forward 10, 20 years, and if something seriously is not addressed in the market, you got 3 stages. You've got the first stage where people can't buy homes, so they rent. Second stage is they rent because they can't buy a home. The third stage, which is a disastrous stage for anyone, is they can't rent or buy a home, so they're homeless. That to me is where the stages are at. And if home ownership seems unachievable, if renting becomes unachievable, what the hell is next? Yeah. Like, it's a homelessness crisis, which is already exacerbated with the homelessness crisis that we already have.
Yeah.
So I think it's a dangerous pathway that we're heading down.
Is it? So I almost think, and respectfully to anyone, because lifestyle decision versus financial decision versus it's a personal choice. So respectfully to the interviewee, but is it irresponsible? Like, I know there's something in living for the now, but at some point you go, okay, look, bite the bullet, maybe move further out, save a little bit, maybe try and buy something, maybe try and rentvest, maybe move in, but maybe your parents are in Melbourne, move back home perhaps. I don't know, but like, how long can you live on the cusp?
Look, is it irresponsible? I mean, we don't know the story, right? She may not have a choice. She may not have the luxury of going back to mum and dad.
Yep.
If she moves further out, she may have to go to a 1-bedroom that's by herself, and it's probably $600 anyway. Like, so
the missing part there is too, we don't know where she works or studies or what she does.
Right.
So, moving out, she could be a nurse at Randwick Hospital, and if she moves
Needs
out,
to be locally,
it's an out. You know what I mean? We don't know that situation too. So, but even
I think if you took the balance of the facts from an irresponsible point of view, if you have the ability to get ahead and take advantage of mum and dad and use those advantages that you have, maybe it could be. But I think one of the most important parts is, how can you actually break that cycle? Like, what are the solutions there to break that cycle? What do you think? Well, I mean, there's one comment I'm reading here: tax people heavily for owning more than one property. That will automatically bring more supply to the market. Yeah.
I don't know about that either, right? Because is it bringing more supply to the market, or are you taking out rental opportunities from the market because people are less likely to invest with,
Look, the properties that are there. Are you taking more opportunities out? Look, if someone owns 50 properties, then that's a huge problem. We know that there's some huge issues with Airbnb, where you've got people that aren't even property owners, that are landlords, and they're taking out supply for permanent rental supply to use as short stay Airbnbs. I think there was an article I read the other day where there was 3 people that own 800 properties.
Yeah.
And let me clarify that. It was 3 people that were landlording. And what that means is so you've got a landlord, they were the tenant, but then they were subleasing that out under Airbnbs. Now that's 800 properties within the city fringes, or in the city as well.
Yeah.
That is completely taken out for permanent rentals, that is now utilised for short-term stays. Now that's a massive problem.
And I would suggest that a lot of those might be in Bondi, honestly, because that's where the tourists want to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
I read another article related to Airbnb recently, suggesting that Airbnb are about to raise their prices for hosts, which means that the prices to stay at an Airbnb, that's going to be
even more.
So everything's just going to this crazy point. One of my favorite comments, my absolute favorite comment was, "That's ridiculous. People need to act their wage," which I thought was really cute, which is true. It comes back to that irresponsible thing. Look,
I agree though. I mean, simply, if you can't afford something,
Yeah.
you got to change.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to change what you're doing. If you want to live there and it's becoming unaffordable, you need to change. And if you don't have the luxury of banking mum and dad, go live somewhere else. Like, you need to. And if it means changing jobs and whatnot, like, you may need to take that more responsible decision to actually do that.
Yeah. If the beach is lovely, but if I can't buy groceries, then that's another thing. So I think
I think a lot of people sacrifice the future for the now.
Yeah.
And when you really need to be doing it the opposite way.
Yeah.
You need to sacrifice the now for the future.
Or at least have a balance. All right. Have a balance. Always put something away for tomorrow. And I do think the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, looking at these sorts of numbers, is people are thinking about today.
Want to be on the beach making sandcastles.
Nice day today. Let's go to the beach.
Let's
what do you
go.
reckon? All right. It's been great chatting to you, Chris. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, done.
This is Jason He, the sexiest voice in property, here to tell you that the Property Now podcast offers opinions on Australian property news for informational and entertainment purposes only, and general in nature. It does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. It does not constitute professional advice. Always seek expert guidance before making any property-related decisions.